Bien, bonjour, bonsoir à vous tous, à toutes. Bienvenue à l'ambassade britannique, surtout à ceux d'entre vous qui sont avec nous pour la première fois. Nous sommes très heureux, très fiers de vous accueillir. Et c'est maintenant à Jean-Pascal Sibier qui va vous expliquer les règles du jeu et vous souhaiter très bon débat. Merci pour votre attention.
This debate is based on the rules and procedures of the House of Commons. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the format, let me briefly run through the main features of the quasi-Paris 5 debating style. 4 speakers from the government, 4 speakers from the opposition. They should all speak consecutively for a total of 5 minutes each. If you agree with what the speaker says, you say traditionally with
yeah.
If you disagree with what the speaker says, the traditional fashion is
yeah.
The year is 2008. Rupert is sitting in the Eurostar reading a paper as the train pulls into Gare du Nord. Rupert steps onto the platform, looks up, and suddenly gasps in horror at what he has seen. Welcome to the country ranked 31st in terms of freedom of the press.
Welcome to a land of freedom. Welcome to France.
Hear, hear. Hear, hear.
Today, Reporters Without Borders ranks France in 44th place, below Tanzania and Papua New Guinea.
We might be frog eaters, but our citizens are given the chance to be heard and informed. Our press is lucid, luminous, and independent.
Freedom of the press is, as Julius wrote, the palladium of all civil, political, and religious rights. But what is it? It's not only the right to print papers, broadcast a radio show, or a television program. For all this is meaningless without independence. Independence of the journalist, the editorialist, and the columnist. Independence to speak their own words and not those imposed upon them by others.
What does the typical French citizen wear on his head? A beret. What does he hold in his right hand? A baguette. And what does he cherish in his left hand? Le Monde!
Please adopt this motion.
Vote against this motion.
On the free side of the English Channel, the press has established itself as an independent institution. News channels and magazines are owned by private professionals, not by Mr. Sarkozy's best friend. Look at Rupert Murdoch. Look at all these news corporations. Look at all these tycoons, these mafioso tycoons. What are they doing? They're taking advantage of those poor middle-class teenagers who are interested in the gossip and in Barbara Streisand's last tummy tuck in order to make them pay for it. News of the world can have its own private failure without taking down the government with it. In the British sense of freedom of the press, news is recognized as an institution unto itself, tasked with reporting matters professionally and without peddling favors to a state authority. When times are good, business prospers. When times are bad, the government can slip their failures under the rug.
Is you, as a politician, standing beside the press, the reason why your friends own every single newspaper in France, the reason why you appoint the chairman of France Télévisions, and why you sack journalists?
I'm a minister, so I don't sack journalists first. Second, in your country, it's Rupert Murdoch who does it.
It's important to realize that the UK does, in fact, impose its own limitations on the conduct of the press. And it's precisely these limitations that make it the praiseworthy system that it is.
What matters is the balance.
I mean, we're in France. When has the word absolute brought about anything other than crazy rebels? Print a scandalous cover and boom, your office is burned down.
again, if you want the best, you also need to accept the worst.
We heard so many beautiful things from Francesco about France being just like North Korea. I'll get to this in a minute. From Maria talking about French law, and she's just a dream girl in her dream world. And Alex that was saying something like money is like the best thing and you have to accept the worst. I don't know if you heard, but you know, we have a money crisis right now, so open this.
Okay, the French light has not been turned off, but just like the electricité de France, it has been privatized.
Britain has never and will never promote the freedom of press in the UK and in the world more than France did, is doing, and will do.
In France, we really think we have the best model.
This House has decided that the French team and that the French system of the press is more free than the British.